Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise is brought to you in partnership with Drive Media and Consulting and their premier sponsors. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platforms and share. If you just found us, welcome. And if you're a regular, welcome back. Denise DiGrigoli has spent her life in the creative industries as an entrepreneur, helping people transform their visions into thriving businesses, working with individuals and teams to find their purpose and live their life vibrantly. On her pod, Denise delivers business intel and life hacks with wit and wisdom in short shots like a strong espresso with a solid sense of humor. Enjoy this episode of Mav's Coffee Clarity, and here's Mav.
Welcome, my friends. You are on Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise. That's right. We're a show designed to move you forward in work, life, and self-care. And come on, who doesn't need that? You know, I believe everybody's been a maverick for a minute, a moment, or a lifetime. I'd like to say that we're navigators on this show. We're spilling the beans, business intel, and life hacks. If you just found me, welcome, welcome. And if you're a regular, you know how much I love you. Every week, I bring on somebody fascinating to share their maverick moments, their silver linings, their transitions, hoping that, you know, you're kind of eavesdropping in on our conversation. And if we say something that inspires you, then, hey, we've done our job helping you move forward. So today we have a returning guest, Helen Polise. That's right, a superstar from season 1.
That's right.
Owner of Socialize and known as the Mothership on TikTok.
At the Mothership on TikTok with a U.
At the Mothership,
With the
right?
U.
Mm-hmm. Don't differentiate it with mofo, okay? Or some of the other swears I say on our show.
Okay.
Welcome, Helen.
I'm so happy to be back.
I am so glad you're here.
And this time I'm in person.
And in person, right? The first
in the
time.
Studio.
So, you know, the world works in funny ways, right?
Doesn't
How
it?
you connect with people. Well, I'm just going to spill the beans. So Helen came to me through one of my old friends, my college buddies from FIT, and Helen is a executive.
Oh, I direct mostly now.
Executive director of
producer,
TV.
director of TV commercials.
I was going to say,
That's my day job mostly.
Day job.
Yeah.
So we all have kind of a fun day job,
Yeah.
right, Olivia? Even Olivia has a nice day job working with Mav. Anyways, so Helen and I share common ground. We roast ageism, okay? We are not in an encore career. This is kind of bullshit.
No.
We are in a new adventure.
Yes.
And we were talking about, because Helen was just at Haven in Darien, strutting her stuff with her social media workshop class, and how she became like this TikTok sensation.
It was so much fun. So it's always interesting to me to be among entrepreneurial women. And you know how, like you said, they always have to refer to it as like the next chapter or whatever. Yeah. It's like every chapter, I'm like chaptering every other month.
Turn the page.
Just let's keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be a chapter.
And I was saying to Helen on the way up here, and so thankful you could join us live in the studios here in Fairfield. Some of you record with me in Massachusetts. This week we're in Connecticut. Where in the world is Mav? Yeah. Anyways, we were talking about a portfolio lifestyle. So your day job is TV
producing and directing. And then now what happened to me since 2020, the pandemic, I think we probably talked about it in the last episode.
Yeah, but give us a recap. Recap.
I got on, work was slow. There was no production. I got on TikTok, decided to try and put myself in front of the camera for the first time in my life, and waited a little too long to do that, but here we are. And then I started making content, and I really exploded on TikTok, and I have 1.1 million followers now. I began to just do random things around my house, and then people thought, how did you do that video? So I decided to make a tutorial, and then one tutorial led to an explosive following of people who wanted to learn from me.
So your maverick moment was you were not afraid to share information. No. You found, like, necessity is the mother of invention. You're bored, you start doing random videos, and people are like, oh.
How'd you do that?
How'd you do that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah.
It was kind of cool because TikTok was very known by young people. And so you had a lot of young people, Olivia's age, I would say. And
oh, she's an old lady.
Okay. But let's do outfit changes and magical things. And I could see right away from my production background how it was done. And I just had to figure out how to do it with my phone. The minute I cracked the code, I realized
you're a code cracker.
I'm a code cracker. And I started doing these young people videos. And I think I got the attention of a lot of people who were scrolling silently and maybe a little older, thinking, wow, I can do it.
Did the young people let you in? Let's roast a little ageism.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah, I think a lot of them were welcoming and like, wow, did my mom just outdo me on TikTok? I got a lot of that. Then I got the grandma ones, which I don't really appreciate.
You don't look anything like a day over 40. I don't even know what is
Okay.
happening.
I love you.
But so you start doing these random videos, and now you're in business with your daughter.
Yes.
And your daughter, who's also young,
yes, she's
is doing.
And I still school her. I have to teach her how to do it because she's like, how'd they do this one, Mom? You should do this tutorial. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah.
So was your goal to make this a business, or were you just helping people?
No. And at first, I will tell you, I was almost anti-monetizing it with my audience.
Really?
I knew in the beginning that.
See, I'd be like, let's get the money.
Isn't that crazy?
Let's get the
But
money.
I kept thinking that if I start, I don't want to say selling out, but promoting things and becoming like this influencer, then I was going to lose my authenticity a little bit.
Then you'd have to sell lipstick like Kim.
Right? I'd have to sell things. I also was nervous to be a salesperson. What if people didn't buy the things? Then I wasn't going to be successful at it. So a lot of it came from, I didn't have the desire to be a salesperson. So it started with that problem. But then I realized, well, people wanted to work with me privately and teach them social media. And I didn't monetize that right away. And that might have been a mistake if I'm looking back.
Well, no, because that's where we left you last year. You were like, I'm not going to work with individuals.
I didn't want to do it.
So you're back to tell us how you graduated into that.
I did. You should never say no. You should always say not now. That's one thing I learned.
Ooh, that's a key beam.
That is
not now.
Not now.
Not now.
Because if I would have said that then, I could look back and say I didn't say no. I just said not now, and now I'm ready. I had to be ready. And what triggered for me was that people wanted to work with me. Why was I saying no?
Why were you saying no?
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I didn't want the responsibility of someone's success riding on me. So I know it's huge.
Fear, false evidence appearing
a little bit
real.
About like if this person says I want to do this and you're gonna give me all the key, the tools, and let's say people just don't like that person, and for some reason they're not going to succeed, no matter if they follow everything I say. And maybe they're just not likable enough, or maybe they're just not portraying enough.
Maybe they don't get out of their fuzzy pajamas and do the work.
Whatever it is.
Because I see those people in the grocery store.
Of that weighing on me.
Yeah, no.
That was I think.
So you were afraid of someone else not using your plan and not being successful.
Mostly not being successful, using my plan and not being successful, or just not doing the work, putting the work in, so therefore the plan isn't successful, then blaming me. I didn't want the blame, I guess, maybe.
So prior to that, who were you working with if you weren't working with individuals?
I was being called for speaking engagements, conferences. This is a really fun one that I do. I do video production workshops for corporations. So I go into a corporation, and then they have a team of people that need to learn how to make content for in-house videos or sales videos. And I go in, and 4 hours later, with a bunch of people that didn't know how to shoot with their phone, will learn how to script, shoot, edit, and add titles and make cool graphics and things. And they leave with those skills.
And that's all on your telephone?
Yeah, they do it. I teach it on the phone.
Wow, that's amazing. I think you might have to teach a workshop when we do our quarterly live workshops at MAP. Yes, we talked about having some live workshops quarterly.
Such a good idea, because people don't realize they have the skills. They're missing just a few pieces to get themselves over the hump, and then they can do it. Once they see, and it's also seeing it in real time. So I did the workshop today where we met up, and when I made that one video where I showed in real time, like, here's how I made a video this morning. I recorded this piece, and now we're going to finish the video right here. Seeing is believing, and people realizing that they can do it. They can do it. So why I made the connection from not wanting to work with individuals to wanting to.
Yes. What's that bridge?
The bridge was that I just needed the right platform and system. Enter Julie, my daughter.
Julie.
Because she kept saying, we just need a place where you can put out the information every week and everybody can access the information, so that it's not, so if I have 150 members and 1,500 members, I can still manage it.
So is it on demand?
It is. I don't know if you'd say it's on demand. Every week,
you're doing a live training.
I do a live training every week. Every week it changes the time so I can accommodate different time zones.
Right.
I have multiple emails that come out. It goes into a feed. Think Facebook, but it's an app. It goes into a feed, and every week everyone in the studio gets one challenge to do with a lesson. Like, here's how this works. If you want to do the challenge and drop your link here, and we'll all come and support you. And so it's accountability. And then another feed post goes out with other 10 other content ideas. In case you didn't like the challenge, you can choose from 10 other ideas. So it keeps you creative, it keeps you going. And every week it's a topic. So last week we focused a lot on YouTube.
So the mothership has a weekly program called what?
It's monthly. It's the Socialize Studio.
Socialize Studio.
HelloSocialize.com, tap on Studio, and then you can find the studio. And it's an affordable program for people who want to work with me privately, but they can't afford to do private lessons. So instead, it's
like Helen on steroids,
it's
affordable.
I'm on demand. You're right. It is kind of on demand.
So let me ask you, did you think, well, first of all, now we're like blood sisters.
Yes,
so
you're going to do this too. I know this is coming for you.
So anyways, you decided you're going to do random videos in your home, I think baking apple pies.
Yes, baking
because
apple pies.
You were bored in COVID, but you were still alive, so that was a good thing.
Bored in the house, bored.
And this, you kind of hit viral.
Yes, I hit.
You hit viral. And then now we're out of COVID. You're back to work. I know you travel. I know you're really busy. I know you have grown children. I know your daughter's helping you. We got all the facts.
We got the facts.
Did you ever think you'd be an entrepreneur?
I think that I was always an entrepreneur because even as a director, it was my own company and I get hired. I mean, I guess you could say, I won't say I'm a freelancer because I have a production company. So I have insurance and I will have clients come to me as a company, so I'm an entrepreneur in that small production company. So that wasn't.
So this is your side hustle to your hustle?
Yes.
Wow. And did you plan that or did that happen organically?
That happened completely organically.
So,
I just followed the wave. I hopped on whatever, when surfers are out there and they let some waves pass.
Yeah.
Because you'll get opportunities and people might suggest things. Sometimes that's not the right wave to catch. And
how did you know?
This wave was the wave.
Like, do you have a meditation practice? Like, how did you know to follow this wave? Because it's huge.
I think just instinct.
Okay.
It felt right. I feel right when I'm explaining to people when I'm teaching how to do this. I think somewhere I'm a teacher.
So for people that aren't watching us on YouTube, and if you aren't, go over to YouTube and check us out.
Yeah.
Helen is very unassuming. And when I think of Maverick, I think of someone who's like, Maverick. But Helen is like this kind of like unicorn Maverick that's unassuming and extremely successful. So you don't have to be like bold and crazy and talk loud like me.
No, I have to be like Mav with the pink coat. No. But I will say, though, when I walk into a meeting now, I know that some of these Zoom meetings that I'm on, and there's a lot of young people in the Zoom meetings, and they've already placed me in a place in their mind.
Right.
And then someone says, oh, well, she's the TikTok expert with 1.1 million followers. The tone of the room changes because my credibility now leads the charge. So if I'm in a lineup, I would not be the one that somebody would pick to have the biggest social media following.
Right.
That's the fun surprise.
So what makes you a Maverick, really, Helen? Like, were you raised by a Maverick? Did you take a Maverick class? Like, what makes you you? For people out there like, wow, I feel old at 60 and I could never do what Helen is doing. Let's get them off their blocks. What can we tell them?
A lot of who we are is like your internal compass that you've always been. So I can think of things in my life that have always been true to me, where I hit a roadblock, but I always figure out another way. Something will stop me from doing that, but that means that I wasn't meant to do that. I'm going to do this instead.
So you don't say no.
I don't say no. I always find the way around things.
You go around the obstacle.
I do. And that's how I've been. I mean, I got cancer in 2022. I was like, oh no, this is getting in the way. We're not having this. So I was just going to power right through that. I think the things that come, I don't always look far ahead. I live so much in the now. I have a hard time.
Is that the way you were raised, or did you train yourself that way?
I think I'm just wired that way.
You're wired that way.
I am, because I was not raised that way.
You were living in the now.
I was raised by a planner. An OCD planner, and I'm not that, unfortunately.
So the truth is, guys, you can be you.
You can be you, no matter how you were raised.
Yeah, very cool, because a lot of people won't break out of that box. And as I was telling you on the way up here, people get stymied. Well, you're a girl. Girls do this. Boys do that. Well, you're 60. You can't do that. I have some friends, and unfortunately, we're not going to mention any names. They're like, well, you're not retiring at 62. I'm like, hell no.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. I'm still on skis. Absolutely not.
Me too.
And I'm going 104. I don't know what. And then I said, am I going to have any friends left? But I'm going to have you.
Yeah, I'll be here.
I'm going to have you.
I'll be here.
So And then
I do think a lot of people think, oh, 60, you're on your like back end of the chapter or something. I don't think that. I think I have so much left to do.
I
have so
honestly
much
feel
life left to
healthier than
live.
I've ever
Yeah,
felt.
it's really good. I can squat to the floor. Just
Me too.
bragging.
We're gonna actually show you the
Let's look
Molassa squat before
Okay.
we end. We are.
should do it.
Okay, so all you podcasters, get over to
I'm doing it.
YouTube. We're gonna do it. All right. So that being said, how important is social media for a person that's not going to do it as a business? Like you had a whole
I wasn't
team
gonna
of
do it as a business either.
no, but I
started.
mean, like, so any entrepreneur that
Yeah.
says, oh, geez, I've got to buy ads, or why am I not going viral? I don't know what to post. Like, how important is it to not the big celebrity influencers, to small business people to do social media? Tell us
All
about
right.
that.
I personally think that the only reason for social media is for someone to find you who needs you that would otherwise not be able to find you. So it's
Because
not for
nobody
your
goes to
friends.
the yellow
no,
pages.
It's not for your friends and family.
Yeah.
It's not to make sure you're being popular. You know, it's not none of that. It's like you are putting yourself out there so that there's someone out there who needs you for whatever it is. And at the time when I was showing my cancer journey, it was like, believe me, there was young girls who said, oh, my mom's going through this and I'm so happy to be able to watch your videos. I mean, I was meant to be there for that person. And it wasn't even about learning social media.
So you didn't do it for
So-
business. You just
No,
shared your
no.
cancer journey.
I just decided it
What
was
did that look like?
It was pretty intense.
How long were you in a cancer journey?
June 2022, I lost my eyesight for 3 weeks and gradually went completely blind. And then
What
was
did you have?
recording. I had lymphoma. They didn't know this, but for 3 weeks I was losing my eyesight, and I would pick up my phone every day and document it because I was still doing content creation. And I was like, well,
But you couldn't see?
today we're at the emergency room and I can't figure out why I'm going blind. Like I was recording that kind of thing because I wanted to document what was happening.
Wow.
And then after 3 weeks, I finally, many tests and whatnot, they diagnosed lymphoma, and I had to go into radiation to get my eyesight back and then chemo. And so that was a 6-month period I had to live through, and I lost my hair and I shaved my head on camera. I decided at that point to take my followers with me because I had this big audience and I was teaching them social media. And what was I going to do all of a sudden? Like, they're going to see that I look different. And I decided to just open the door. And once I did that, it was like, you're coming with me. I'm looking good for chemo today, people. You know what I mean? I just
How long
took
was the
everybody with
chemo
me.
journey? And how
6
long?
months, about a 6 months period of time.
And then you're completely well?
yes.
Ah,
Thank you.
congratulations. That's
the harder
wonderful.
part of the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
was growing my hair back and finding my identity after cancer. Nobody tells you about that.
Well, what is that like?
Horrible.
Were you a different person?
I thought I was never going to be the same person again.
Like, how? That's
Terrifying.
because of your hair loss, or because you
because I
lived
would-
through possibly dying?
No, that part didn't actually get me, funny enough. It was because I would look in the mirror and not see my former self.
Oh.
Okay, so it was like visual. And then it was also, am I going to be that happy person again that doesn't know bad things?
Oh.
That doesn't remember feeling.
So the veil had been
my
lifted and you
God.
had a different experience.
Really? It was like my life before cancer and my life after. And it's not. So I was scared that I wasn't going to be that same, I don't know,
Optimistic?
basic, happy optimist. I was
Okay.
always like, everything's going to be good. Like, we're good. And then suddenly it was like, oh, guess what? Fooled you. Not everything's going to be good all the time. And so I thought, did I lose my happy base? Because I wake up in the morning, I'm pretty happy, unless
Yeah.
somebody really does me wrong.
And you don't even do coffee, so this is
I
amazing.
know. It's tea, people.
How is it that she wakes up and has no coffee?
I
No
don't
one
have
knows.
coffee.
Okay.
A lot of energy.
But okay, that would have taken me out, no coffee. So you're going through cancer.
Yes.
You're documenting it,
Mm.
and your tribe online
So
is
scary.
supporting you.
Yes. And it wasn't every day was happy. It wasn't like I was showing up only for the happy days. I showed up very real.
No,
Sometimes I look back at those videos and I'm like, wow, she was losing it. What is she stupid that she did that? But meaning me, but
Yeah.
I remember one time being rolled in on a stretcher, and I always had my phone with me because I was literally going to document this experience. So I was being rolled in and I took out my phone. I couldn't even see. I was holding it up. I don't know why I even had glasses on, because in my elusive mind, the glasses would help me see. And even though I couldn't see, but I was talking to the camera. I look at that video and I'm like, oh my God, like, talk about vanity out the window. Talk about not wanting to look at your videos. I mean, it was so over at that point. I don't know. I just
So-
didn't have any, there was no,
were you ever afraid you weren't going to make it?
No, isn't that strange?
So you knew you were making it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
knew I
that's
was
part of the
making it.
success
I knew
equation.
I was making it.
You just got to know
And I
you're going to
kept
make
thinking,
it.
oh, when I'm on the other side of this, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember.
Do you
that.
remember this
I'm
or
gonna
that?
remember this. I do. I remember things, moments where I thought that and said that. And I have videos in my phone where I was saying it. When I'm on
Okay.
the other side of this, I'm going to look back and say, wow, I knew what it was like to be a blind person.
What's the silver
So
lining
it's,
of this cancer experience?
Oh, that I had an experience that I never knew I was going to have.
Yeah.
And so I'm more compassionate towards people who are going through something like that. And I think a lot of people don't know what to say to someone.
What
when
should they say? Because I wouldn't
what
know.
should they say? It's like, I know the things not to say now, I guess. It's less about giving advice
Right.
and more about, listen, I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you need anything.
What's the
if
one
you need to
thing no one
listen.
should say to you? Although on Mavs we don't like to should, but what should we not
I
say?
hate this.
Let's hear it.
I don't like the. I know I shouldn't say this because I know people use the term all the time. But
Yeah, but no
I
should.
didn't love "you're such a warrior." You know, I just didn't like that. I know that's a cancer term, and I know we're supposed to. I didn't take insult to it, but I just felt
Wait,
like
people are saying you're such a warrior?
no, like you're a warrior. Like that's a cancer word.
Oh,
that you're
yeah,
going
I'm
through
not. I
cancer.
don't even know that to be
The
true, and I don't like that
The
either.
Warrior, you know, WARR, warrior, not worry.
Well, in my world, Helen, you're a navigator.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so now you're over the cancer. You're bringing your community
It's like
with
it was
you.
a bad dream. That's how much I don't think about it. I don't think, oh, I'm a cancer survivor. I forget half the time.
Yeah,
Whatever.
no, and
gone.
thankful that you are
Yeah.
beyond. And now you've got this business with your daughter. How is it working with your daughter? Oh gosh.
It's good, actually. I think I'm a tough customer for her because we're very different. She's way more organized. She's a planner. She's also a stand-up comedian, so she's funny, but she's not funny every day. You know,
Does
she's
she
funny.
use her jokes on you?
Yeah, I'm a lot of her material. She has a joke. She has a whole set based on the most Gen Z thing about me is that I work for an influencer, and you probably know her. It's my mom. That's like one of her lines from her set. And then she goes on to say how I would, at all family events, nobody gets dessert until they learn the Texas Hold'em dance and like things like that. So she has a whole set dedicated to me being an influencer. It's very funny.
Did she ever think she would work with you?
I don't think so. I
No.
think that she's always watched me as she doesn't remember the part where I worked for corporations because before I was more of an entrepreneur starting from 2012, she was older by then.
Okay.
And so she doesn't remember her young years of me having to go to the office and work for the ad agency and be there at midnight to show the edits. She doesn't know about any of that. So she just thinks I've always worked for myself. And I find this funny because I'm like, you missed the hard part.
That's for my daughter. Right.
was-
Well, it's a hard part too, working for
Jeez.
yourself.
Yeah, it is hard, but it was, so I think that she has always seen that.
So she's
That
your
part.
back of the house.
She's really my back of the house.
she's your back of the
It all
house.
keeps me together.
And what do you do every day to
So good.
produce? What if you're not in the mood? Because sometimes, and I talked to Olivia about this, right? Say I'm consulting. I spend a lot of my time consulting, and I come in here to try to rip a Mav and give some advice about what's happening in my clients' lives, so you can move forward. And I come in, and I go, oh, holy shit!
I'm not in the mood.
Look at those wrinkles and those bags. I mean, this is worse than a day at TJ Maxx. These freaking bags, and what is my hair's fried up, and I say, oh, screw it. I just got to tell somebody something good. How do you get around that? Or do you have that?
I'm going to tell you this because the more you record, this is, hold on, let me say this in a good way. My husband was once on a sailboat and they were in the middle of the ocean and it was like the waves. It was intense. It was so terrifying. And one of the guys on the boat said to him, after a while, even terrifying is boring. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, hold on to that thought for a minute.
Hold that thought.
Because
Terrifying is boring.
even terrifying is boring. So
After a while.
which means you get seasoned to something. So you're scared, and after a while you're like, how much can they whack you with the waves? You're not scared anymore. So when you record, the way I record videos every day, like I'm recording every day. Boom, I'm up, I'm doing a thing. There's days where I don't look so great. And then there's days where I look pretty good today.
I'm always thinking she's got the filter on. She always looks
I never
great.
have a filter on.
Holy shit. Really?
Really? You think I use a filter?
I think, no, I'm just teasing.
But
you.
I
But
don't.
you do look great.
Okay, well, I see.
Look
all
at her
the
on YouTube, my
I see
friends.
all
This
the
is
mistakes.
unfiltered in my studio.
I see all the
We don't
mistakes.
care.
But I will, from doing it day after day after day, after a while, I accept myself. And it's like, it's not so bad. Whatever, just post it. After going through cancer and posting with things with where my head was shaved, really, I look great. posted. So I think you can season yourself by putting yourself in front of the camera more.
So I told Helen a little secret on the way up here is that I don't really watch my videos, right, Olivia? I look at a little snippet. I'm like, okay, approve, go.
I don't understand.
Because I trust. But you know what? You know what I had to do talking about that sailboat metaphor?
Mm-hmm.
I train people in stage confidence, although I won't look at my own stuff. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Ooh, okay.
Stage confidence. And we all, primarily ladies, but all people, have imposter syndrome, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Imposter syndrome. And so once I learned the neuroscience behind that and the nuance behind that and could see that in myself, I fearlessly go forward. It doesn't matter that I don't look at myself and watch these videos and see if I have a roll or a wrinkle.
Stop you.
I say that's the imposter syndrome, and Olivia will tell me if I look like an idiot. Right, Olivia? If I say something really crazy, she'll like, I'm not sure if you should do this. But we don't do a lot of outtakes. I mean, this is it.
Good.
This is the real thing. And I tell everybody, you know, the imposter syndrome is just that. It's a thought.
Yes.
And so I do the work that I do because I just want to get it out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I probably need to go back and micromanage my hair today or my bag that you can see from the I say,
Okay. Right.
yeah. So, but
Listen,
other,
wait. I
go.
want to say this about the speaking in front of people thing because I used to be terrified.
I work with a
That's
lot of people that are terrified to
I used
speak.
to be terrified. I can remember moments where I'd have to get up in front of not even a big group and my heart would be pounding out of my chest. And once I would start talking, I'd be okay. But that moment before, and I will say, I mean, the flip has switched in my brain and I don't have it anymore. And I never thought I would get rid of that in my life. It was with me for so many years.
I, believe it or not, was a very shy child. No one can believe this when I tell them this. I was very shy. Didn't really come out of my shell until like 14, 15, probably 16. And then it was balls out. And not that I have those, but you know what I mean. So how I look at this when I teach a lot of people in strategic communication and negotiation, the audience really wants you to win. And that I've learned over the years. And it was reinforced recently by one of my comedy teachers. When you walk on stage, and I don't care if you're giving a panel discussion, TED Talk, the audience, for the most part, wants you to win. Now, yes, talk about seasoning. People are seasoned now to be haters and putting all their stupid comments online. But generally, if you walk out in front of a giant audience or an audience of 10, 80%, if not more, of those people want you to win.
Wow, this is brilliant.
So if you know that going in, and similar to what you said this morning in your talk, use your telephone and just talk to that one person. So how I get through my day in this tapings and running around and doing all my consulting is I'm talking to you. And you are the most important person in the room for me. And what you have to say is important. And I know you want me to win because you are also listening. Yes. When I would go on stage and do comedy, I was like, we do get hung up because you'll listen to all the haters, right? And it's like 4 haters out of a theater of 400. I'm going to say something stupid.
And they're the loudest for some. They're the loudest in your brain. They're not the loudest, really.
And that goes to a marketing statistic. 80% of our business comes from 20% of our clients. And 20% of the people in the world, everyone's going to be writing some crazy ass comment, 20% of the people in the world do 80% of the work. Think about your own family home life.
Oh, gosh.
Does 80% of the work in your home happen by 20% of the people? This is a yes or no, my friends.
Okay.
Simple yes or no. Now, you could say, well, some of the, whatever, flip roles, whatever. I mean, these are generalities. It's the Pareto principle, right? You time block, 80-20, whatever. My point is, if you know going in that you are really delivering something authentic, as you do.
Yeah. I feel so right about it that I don't even have to be nervous.
Then
that was the key for me.
Right.
But you know what I want to say that's tied into real life and social media tying together by what you just said?
What?
The 80% of people want you to succeed. This is when I say social media imitates real life and vice versa.
Right.
When I make a video, 80% of the comments are so positive and so supportive. Mm-hmm. And so if you just, that's why I think I've gotten over my real life fear because I'm like, oh, those people are rooting for me. Like in the comment section, all the positivity. It's like, I mean, it's wonderful dopamine hit, but at the same time, if you think about that being the same as real life and walking into a room, the same idea happens in a real life. Like those people in the room, like you said, are They're rooting for you. So just like they are going to be on social media, you're going to be your worst critic.
And flip the
And
narrative.
you already are.
I am kind of my worst critic just because I don't know.
We got to snap it
I
out.
gotta because I wouldn't allow that in any of my clients. I'd be like, that's self-critical. Knock that off. Let's get going.
Right.
But I was speaking to someone else that'll be coming on the show who's had a great deal of success like you, also a woman entrepreneur and coming up the ranks as an actress. And she said, what I'm realizing is I tried to bring everybody along with me in this journey.
Oh.
And when I got to a certain level of success, some people flipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some of those 80% flipped into the 20%. Why aren't you helping me anymore? So I won't say haters because I don't like that word, but, not supporters. Right. And I said the same thing to her. We are, and I say it a lot, the sum of our 5 best friends. We are the sum of our 5 best friends. And we are the sum of, and my former trainer would always say, abs are made in the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Right? So we're the sum of the 5 best things we eat. I just go on my stats. Marketing is stats, my friends. Just simple stats. So that's
these are all little These are, what do you call them? Navigator?
These are my little maverick. These are my little spill the beans maverick wisdoms. It's like, so I think
love them.
And even you're helping me today as I'm starting to even further refine in season 2 here. Like we're talking about, it's okay to be over 40, 50, 60. These things that happen sometimes in the chamber, 40 under 40. I'm like, what about 60 over 60, bitch? Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's go.
I just don't want to.
I don't like a number.
I don't want it in the conversation.
A number is so bizarre to me.
Done with it.
So you are now helping individuals, and as we all do on this show, what is Helen doing to help Helen?
I wasn't expecting that question.
Listen, I can't give you the script in advance. We're real and unedited.
All right. So I'm going to tell you because there are a few things. For a while there was chemo. And I lost a lot of my physical self because you lose a lot of muscle when you're taking those medicines and all of these things happen. So Helen is now for Helen back in the gym, hardcore.
Good for Helen.
I'm really having fun because I'm like,
are we going skiing?
I'm back. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm a big skier. Let's go. Let's make a ski.
Come to the Berkshires and ski.
I don't know many women my age that ski, by the way.
I don't know what age that is, but come to the Berkshires and ski.
Okay, let's go ski. Anyway,
what else is Helen doing for Helen?
I do that for me.
Yeah.
Let me think. What else do I do for myself? Because I've been really paying attention to having some time. So when I'm in the city and I want to make sure I'm enjoying the city, that I'm not just at my desk working all day. Because it really can happen where I get swept up and it's work constantly. So I make sure to make time to see the city. So I go out every day, whatever the time of day. It's like, let me get a walk in. So I make sure I go for a walk. I observe things. I look in windows. I see things. I just try and, I think, taste the city in a more real way versus just it's there as my backdrop. So that's a big one.
Wow.
So it's physically the working out part. It's the city things. What else do I do for myself? I still am a video creator, so I do like to make videos about the things, and I get joy from doing that. So when I do my content that's not tutorials, that's for me.
And as you're moving forward with what we'll call your hustle and now your side hustle, which is the individual training and the membership, we're calling it the studio. How are we finding you?
Studio. HelloSocialize.com.
HelloSocialize.com.
And then it's just studio at the top. Pick the studio and you can get into the studio. You can also get on the email list to hear about it if you're not ready to commit. It's so much fun because it's a community. And what I realized that I've done in my life very well is bring people together. And when I used to live in the suburbs, we'd have these dance parties at my house. And the women would come out of the woodwork. At those parties were women only because I lived in the burbs and the women, they didn't have any outlet for dancing because you get to a certain age, your kids are there, you're not going to the club anymore. Sad, but true. Olivia's like,
no.
Time. So I would invite women over and DJ these parties at my house where I had 1.70 women in my house in the suburbs.
Disco dancing? I wish I knew you then.
70s, 80s.
I freelance disco dance in my kitchen all the time. And I
love it.
I sing it in my hairbrush.
The whole thing.
Whatever it takes.
The whole thing. This is probably also why I love TikTok because in the beginning I was dancing.
Yes, you still dance on your TikTok.
Yeah, I still dance. But in the beginning, I was doing like, today I'm dressing up like Britney Spears, and I was doing that one, or I was doing the Savage dance. I did them all. And I loved it because I felt like I was just being able to have an outlet So I love to dance. That's a big thing that I do for myself. But
That's great exercise.
yeah. So I have a propensity for bringing women together, and then they get along. So I just did it recently. I went to a Tampa conference. I was speaking at social media at a conference about social media, and I just put it out to my studio. Oh, if anybody's in the Tampa area and wants to meet up, and I had a meetup of women, and they didn't know each other until there, and they all got along so amazingly, and now they're in touch. So I like to bring women together, and I don't disclude men. Is disclude a word?
Is disclude a word? Can someone Google
exclude.
it?
I always make up words. I make up words men too, because I have some really great men in the studio as well. So it's not a women's only thing. It's just a good vibes only thing. I'll tell you that. Nobody's welcome with bad vibes.
Right. No, we bring everybody to the table. That's a Maverick statement.
Yes.
Everybody that's welcome at the table, as long as they want to contribute positively to society.
Absolutely.
So where else can we find you? TikTok.
Right,
everybody
so
get her to 1.2 million. Let's go.
TikTok
1.2 million.
At the mothership with a U. So we need the and the U.
Yeah.
And then my website is Hello Socialize. So I have TikTok and Instagram with the mothership brand. And then I created the Hello Socialize brand because that's together with Julie. We do it as a mother-daughter thing. She does all the back end. I'm the face of it to keep the videos and teachings going. And we just love it together. It's our thing.
What's next for Helen? Is the bucket list still rolling for the business and for personal?
Bucket list is always rolling.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's oh my God, what can I do next, and what's my next adventure? When I started getting reached out by brands to do videos for brands, which are not me featured in the videos, but me actually shooting TikToks for brands.
Yeah,
that opened up a whole door.
That's a whole nother revenue.
I mean, I went to Croatia to shoot Clairol TikToks. That was nuts. I mean, I was there for 5 days straight shooting videos while they were filming commercials. I was shooting TikToks. So I don't know what's next. Work-wise, I welcome it all. I think it's just exciting and fun. Now, personally. Let's get to the Maverick dirt.
What is it?
All right. So Julie and I, my daughter, she does stand-up comedy. So now she has this idea that I should do some
I love her already. I haven't even met her.
I should do some jokes. So she is trying to teach me how to do stand-up now. It remains to be known if this is actually going to work because as I told her, I'm funny because I'm who I am. I'm not a comedian and I can't write jokes. She's like, we're going to work on
Everybody
it.
can write
jokes. So right now we're in this little kind of fun phase together where we're trying to have an outlet outside of work. That's because we talk every day, but of course it's because we're working together. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to have time. We're making time to talk every day without it being about work.
So as we wrap it up here, Helen, what's the number one Maverick piece of wisdom you want to leave Mav's audience with? Somebody that might be stuck, somebody that wants transition, somebody that's just like, wow, can I really do it? What's the best mothership?
I want to make it about social media.
Make it whatever you want.
Yeah. So if it's about social media, there's no right time to start.
Ooh.
There's no right time. Just make a video. And you don't even have to post it. Make a video today. Make a video tomorrow. One of the videos, just post it. Just do it.
And what's your favorite social media? Is it TikTok?
Right now it's TikTok, but I like making videos, so I don't really get wherever I end up is wherever we go next.
It's so great to have you back on the show. I am so thrilled to be part of your circle. All right, peace out, everybody. Mav has got to get back to work. Thank you, Helen, from the mothership with a U, and Olivia for being the back wagon. We appreciate everybody in the studio. Peace out, my friends.
Love you. Mwah.
Hey, that's a wrap for today, my friends. Thanks for listening, subscribing, and staying connected with me. Head on over to DeniseDiGregoli.com and learn a little bit more about my creative and strategic consulting services. While you're there, drop your name on the contact page. Sign up for my bi-weekly brew. It's fresh ideas delivered to your inbox a couple times a month for clarity, creativity, and better communication. It's based on my 3 decades as an entrepreneur, helping other people and businesses move forward. It's great business intel and life hacks that you can use for work, life, and self-care. And come on, who doesn't need that nowadays? Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, my friends. Mav has got to get back to work.